Eric Martin, Lewis Clark State College, and here we are, History 102, and it is time to talk about setting up the chapter for this week, Chapter 20 from Worlds of History, Enlightenment and Revolution, Europe and the Americas, and India, 1650 to 1850. All right. Now, in terms of the historical skills that you're focusing on this week, it's focusing on close reading. And I know that sounds very basic, but it's my experience that many college students need help with this. Frequently, the expectation is that the reading will be easy, and that if I don't understand it, okay, so it was just hard. And then you come to class and you say, well, it was hard, I didn't understand it. Well, you have to try to understand it, right? And that's not just for history, but it's also for the world of work. You know, you have to try to figure it out. So, what we're working with this week are documents in which people have, frankly, a larger vocabulary than many of us do, and also trying to figure out the context for how a word is being used. So sometimes you get the word, but the word is being used differently because of the historical context. So it's not easy, but you're practicing with history your ability to interpret data. All right, your ability to interpret data and your comprehensive reading type stuff. Okay, so you take good notes on these. Take good notes on these sources. Now, the discussion board question that we have for the week focuses on the role of ideas in shaping history. And you kind of have this grand question amongst historians, right? The idea does, it goes something like this. Do ideas, are they the thing that's the wheel behind history and generates the material conditions under which we live? Or is it the material conditions under which we live that generate history and create the ideas? So this relationship between ideas and broader phenomena. Well, all the documents that we have this week in Chapter 20 focus on important ideas from an intellectual movement known as the Enlightenment. And one of the missions for the week is for y'all to be able to get some general characteristics of what is the Enlightenment. All right? So look that up in your textbook, in the Traditions and Encounters book. The Bridging World History video deals with it as well. But the Enlightenment, you need to know what that is. So doing some basic recon on that will help these documents make sense. I'll give you a short version of it. The Enlightenment develops out of the scientific revolution. Okay? So to boil it down to very small basics, the scientific revolution is focused on this issue of using reason to explain the natural world. The divine explanation that God did it. God made it so. The Bible as the supreme authority for how the biological world worked, for how the chemical world worked, for how the geological world worked. That was challenged during the scientific revolution. It's like, well, let's use rationality and come up with a rational explanation in which perhaps we can have some kind of empirical evidence to demonstrate that this is how it works. The Enlightenment takes that same line of thinking and says, well, if we can use rational thought to determine how the natural world works, why shouldn't we use natural thought rational thought to figure out how the political world should work or the social world should work? If it no longer makes sense that a divine explanation explains why the world around me, the plant world around me, for example, works, why is it that when I ask why so-and-so is king, the answer is divine explanation? Right? So it's like, all right, well, maybe we can find a different way of ordering society, one that is scientific, right? So the Enlightenment applies reason to the social and political world. That's really what we're looking at. All right, so a few of the things you want to catch in the various documents. David Hume's On Miracles. He's a funny guy, but his vocabulary is big. So I strongly suggest you doing exactly what Kevin Riley, the editor of this work, asked you to do. And that is work on paraphrasing those sentences one by one. What do you think they mean? All right. But then get into the issue. What is David Hume's position on miracles? Right? What is his position on miracles? The document by Rousseau. Perhaps there's not a more famous philosopher than Rousseau. He's definitely in the conversation. He comes up with this idea of a social contract. What is the social contract? And then I think the thing you have to ask yourself also is, for individuals who are looking to change their government, particularly from a government structured along the idea of a divine monarchy, what is it in the social contract that's appealing? What is it that Rousseau is bringing to the table in terms of this is how we should consider organizing government? All right. The third piece, this American Declaration of Independence, some of y'all are going to skip it because you've had it in junior high school, you've had it in high school, you're thinking to yourself, you've read it many times. Read it again. Read it again under the context of how does this document reflect Enlightenment thought? The idea that we are going to apply rationality to the structure of government. And then the other thing that you're going to do with this document, and along with these other documents, are, we've got this whole part in our discussion board of the shared hopes and dreams, but then also the differences, right? Not everybody's rationality leads them to the same conclusions. And so how do we deal with that, particularly since the Enlightenment attempts to make the effort to project its conclusions as to something called universal man? All right. Well, then we get this piece by these letters from Abigail Adams and John Adams, specifically reflecting on what gets left out of the Declaration of Independence at the time. So keep that in mind. Then we move into the French Declaration of Man and Citizen. It is the Declaration of Independence for the French Revolution, and it's different. How is it different than that put forth for the American Revolution? And you got this issue in both of them, right? the emphasis on liberty and the emphasis on equality. Well, those aren't the same thing. And so how do the various, thinkers here, how do people work that out? I'm going to butcher a name here. Olympe de Gauche. All right, well, she's pointing out what she sees missing from the French Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. What is it? What do you think? And then the next document we have comes out of Haiti. And Haiti is frequently overlooked. We've got these Atlantic world revolutions. The American Revolution and the French Revolution are very commonly associated with one another, but the Haitian Revolution is going on almost at the exact same time. It's being motivated by many of these same ideas. So take a look at that document by Toussaint Louverture, and what is he expressing to the French government, right? That what's the main concern in Haiti in terms of how the Enlightenment ideas and the ideas of a social organization put together by rational thinking might look. And then finally, we have our one secondary source for the week by Dipesh Chakrabarti. And his piece puts forth the idea that maybe the European Enlightenment isn't so European. Maybe there's a broader global phenomena going on. And he uses the ideas of two important Indian thinkers to discuss the development and the developing idea of compassion. And so I think that's a good document to compare to all the rest and to get kind of this idea of how does is the Enlightenment a European thing? Is it a broader worldwide thing? Does it start one place and spread? Is it kind of happening at different places? What are the ideas and forces behind it? Maybe what are the material conditions behind it? So, and then the other issue that we get into with all this, right, is, well, this whole idea about rational thought in terms of the types of society you would like to live in, the type of government you would like to live under, this emphasis on freedom that tends to come out of all of them. Well, how much freedom you're willing to grant somebody or willing to encourage kind of depends on your position on a different debate, and that is, what is human nature? Human nature fundamentally good? Human nature fundamentally evil? Seems like depending on how you answer that question, then you're going to have a different position in terms of how much freedom you want to give people. So you've got an interesting dilemma here, right? And that's the exercise that we're going through this week. We're going through the interesting dilemmas in terms of Enlightenment thought, the shared dreams, the different dreams. All right, I only got a little bit left. I can see it by the timer. Y'all work that out on the discussion boards. Got questions? Feel free to call me at the office, email me, drop by. If you're interested in some additional history in your life, look up the Lewis Clark State College Division of Social Science Facebook page. Subscribe. It won't overload your Facebook page. And having said that, enjoy your historical studies.